Hello, and welcome to another episode of Glorious Life on Wheels. The video I'm sharing with you today is one of my absolute favorite videos that I've ever aired. And that's saying a lot considering all of the videos that I've produced. In this video, I interview three fabulous, and I do mean fabulous, ladies. They're nomads who've been on the road anywhere from only 2 weeks ranging up to 14 months. And they're living in a smart car, a Nissan Maxima, and a short bed Chevy truck. I have done tours and interviews with all three of these ladies. 2 of them have already aired, the one with Kay and the ones with Angie. And I'll leave links to those so that you can watch them if you haven't already seen them. I'll leave those links in the comments. Meanwhile, the interview with T will hopefully air sometime in the near future. These ladies, who are nomads by their own choice, are going to share some of their experiences and tell you what it has been like for them living on the road as nomads. But stay tuned until the end. At the end, I ask them some questions for those of you who are going to likely have to become nomads and not by choice. I believe over the next year, there are going to be more people forced to live in vehicles than any other time in my lifetime. And they're going to share with you some pointers that I hope will be helpful for those of you who may find yourself in that situation. So come on, and let's hear from this fabulous trio of ladies. Well, we're going to start over here with Kay and find out a little bit about Kay's journey. So you've been on the road how long?
14 months.
And you're in what?
In a little blue smart car.
A smart car?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So what made you decide to go on the road in a smart car?
I didn't want to take Social Security till I was 70 and I'm 65. And I really couldn't afford to retire, but after COVID, I was just like a feral cat. Let me out, I have to do it. And so because she gets 55 miles to the gallon, it was a way that I could spend down some of my savings and actually travel.
Okay, so you still have, then you're 67, you said?
65.
65. So at 65, you have 5 more years.
Yes.
And do you think you're going to spend all 5 years in the smart car?
I probably will. Yeah, she's got 150,000 miles on her,
Oh,
and
okay.
she's from Europe, but yes, that's the plan. Once I figured out that I didn't think at first that I could actually sleep laid out in her, that I could put everything in the vehicle that I needed, but somehow I'm able to do that. And so, yeah, I would love to stay in her.
Well, we have a
5
tour
years.
coming up, and we're going to show exactly how you do that. So stay tuned for that. Meanwhile, hello, T.
Hello.
So how long have you been on the road?
I have been on the road for a whole 2 weeks.
So you're the newest newbie in the block
Yes,
here.
I am.
So now you're in what?
I am in a 2005 Nissan Maxima.
Okay, and what made you decide to go that route?
I discovered van life when I was at a low point in life, and I realized that it was just calling to me, this lifestyle. And I started wanting to be in a big gleaming cargo van, and then I didn't have the money, so I realized I need to use what I have on hand to get started in this lifestyle as soon as possible.
And you have done an amazing job, and we have a tour of yours too.
Yay!
So we'll show exactly what you did. And here we go. Last but not least, we're with Angie. So Angie, let us know a little bit about your story.
Okay, so I am in a 2018 Chevy Silverado with an ARE cap on the back. It's the shortest bed. So
Okay.
I'm in the 5'8" bed, and I'm like 5'5". And so I've got about 30 feet of
30
space.
square feet,
Yes,
yeah.
30 square feet of space. And the reason that I did it is because I lost my husband, the love of my life, and we had watched the movie Nomadland, and I was just so inspired we were going to take off. So we bought a travel trailer in September. He was diagnosed November 15th, 6-month terminal. I lost him 2.5 months later.
So you're
And-
you're fulfilling your dream that you and he had together.
Absolutely fulfilling the dream.
Now,
It
how-
took me a little while though.
How long have you been on the road?
A year.
A year.
I started last January. Yep.
So you all have not been on years and years and years,
No.
but you have been long enough, some of you, to tell us exactly some of the challenges. And you're new, so you can tell us what it's like when you first start out, and if it is scary or what your experiences are. So the first question I'd like to ask you ladies is living on the road as a nomad, and can you guys scoot over just a little bit so I can get you all in the frame? Great, thank you. So has being on the road, is it what you expected it to be? If it's not, what is different? And how are you coping with that difference from your expectations? Because sometimes things that, I guess disappointment is one of the things that causes us to have anxiety and frustration. So I'm wondering, are you disappointed, or did it meet your expectations? What is the situation like for you now that you're on the road?
Okay, I'd like to answer that because I actually started out with a ton of fear. I had heard stories but I also had excitement, but I had trepidation. And in a year, I've only had one time that I felt a little bit nervous and a little bit concerned for my safety. Because being in the truck, I have to get out of my truck and walk around to go inside my cab if I feel like I want to leave. Whereas a lot of women, they are in vehicles where they don't have to. They can just climb in the driver's seat and they can leave.
If something comes up, they just can instantly leave. But you have to actually get out of the security of your vehicle to go around.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And I have a little kind of a tip for any woman that does do the truck. I have a 2018, and when I unlock my truck, the headlights are these bright LED headlights, and they're kind of like a warning to whoever is out there. So instead of doing that, I just lifted my glass door and I climbed over my tailgate and then went out that way. So I tried to be as incognito as possible. So I had a lot of fear, but I have to be honest and say that it is better than I even imagined it could be.
Really? How so?
Because I hope I don't get emotional, but it's just, I've never seen such beautiful sunsets and sunrises. The freedom of just being away from it all and not hearing the noise and I don't watch news. I don't, I fill my days with love, laughter, and light. I was in a really dark place and I'm not there anymore. And this place just helped me to get there. And I've seen things that I haven't seen before. I've been places I haven't been. And it's just...
So it sounds like it's been an exhilarating, but it's also been an adventure of sorts.
Absolutely. I've learned about myself. I've grown. I always thought I was strong, but I've learned that I'm a lot stronger than I thought I was, because I didn't think I could do this. And I'm a really social person, but I found that I also love being out in the desert away from people too.
So it sounds like it's increased your confidence, your self-confidence.
Absolutely. Number one, my confidence has been increased.
And I want to just go back just for a brief second. You were saying about the situation where you felt a little bit of fear or anxiety, but we were talking about that, and you were saying that helped you to learn to listen to your gut.
Absolutely.
If anything tells you, hey, something's not right, you don't dismiss it and say, oh, I'm being silly. No. You listen.
Absolutely. My stomach, like spidey senses, women's intuition. First of all, Gypsy doing her little, that did it. But then when it didn't stop, I couldn't get her to stop. And then it just made me kind of and I was listening, and you most definitely, that is what God has given us, a woman's intuition, and we need to follow
And you
that.
don't second guess yourself.
No, I do not.
All right, T, what about you? Has it been, you're so new that you're still exploring and discovering so much, but was living in a car much more difficult easier? Did it meet your expectations, exceed them? How has it been living in a Maxima?
It's interesting because it's all the above. It has met, it has exceeded. You know, I'm frustrated about things that I thought would go smoothly that aren't going smoothly. But I just want to second what Angie said about intuition. One of the things I noticed just in this short 2 weeks is my awareness has kicked in.
Yeah.
When you are inside of the safety of a home most of your life and you don't go outside a lot, that falls dormant. Your awareness and your keenness and
kind of like a muscle that you're not using.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I've been feeling it kick in more. Just everywhere I go, I'm taking notice of everyone who's there. If my ears are hearing things that are behind me that I probably wouldn't have paid attention to. And so, this is, I think, the first stage of preparing for, when you sense your gut is in your gut that something's not right and being able to react.
So on the road, you have increased your awareness of your situational awareness and your surroundings.
Yes, 100%. And I'm like, oh my God, I missed that,
But the other thing, I think, what Angie was saying about beautiful sunsets and sunrises, you're also not only increasing your social or your situational awareness in terms of sounds and sights and dangers, you're also increasing them in terms of the beauty around you.
100%. That's been one of my favorite things since I've been out here at the RTR. Prior to coming to RTR, I did stealth camping in the urban areas.
Right.
But coming out here and being in the desert and being able to pull that window shade down and see the sun rising while you're just getting your rig, cleaned up.
And the mountains behind.
And the mountains, the sunrise and the sunset is just the best peacefulness that overcomes you. It overwhelms you. And that's when I know when I see that sunrise and I'm at peace and I'm overwhelmed with peace, that I've made the right decision.
Okay.
I've made the right, for me, I've made the right, because that's all we want.
And it may not be the right decision for everyone.
Correct.
And if it's not, and you get out and you find out this isn't for me, then you need to acknowledge that too.
100%. So far, it's on, for me, it's winning.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I mean, I haven't had any of the time to have real bad experiences.
Right.
Yet. But
and hopefully you won't.
Right. Hopefully I won't. But if I do, I don't think that'll deter me. Like I'm pretty much sold. I love the freedom of it. I do get frustrated when I can't close things or things get messy and things aren't working in order.
Well, you're so organized. Oh my gosh.
It's Tetris out here, y'all.
Yeah.
But
OCD.
and so when things aren't fitting perfectly together, and I'm learning to let go of a lot of that too.
Yes.
Like it just, at the end of the day, none of that matters.
Give yourself grace.
It's like big deal. Okay, let me move on.
Yeah. So that's a learning experience for me, as far as growth, letting go of some of those hangups that don't matter.
Right.
And this lifestyle teaches you that for sure. So.
Right. Now, Kay, what about for you? You're the OG for this group at 14 months.
Right.
An OG in a smart car. So how has it met or exceeded or not met your expectations of what you thought it would be like living in, and let me just show over here. That is what Kay is living in. So how has it met or whatever, for you?
So it's funny how the things you learn when you're younger come back around, and sometimes they lay dormant for a while. You have a spouse, have children, have a career, but then those things come back. And one of the things for me that I was fortunate enough to be a backpacker when I was a teenager.
Okay.
And so, I'm at peace outdoors. I know how to cook outdoors, how to do everything outdoors. And
so you had some skills already coming in.
Yes, and with very small amount of things. And so I was just really fortunate. It exceeded my expectations because I was thrilled that I thought the car would be too small and I couldn't fit everything in it. I couldn't sleep in it comfortably, but I was able to. And so it was wonderful, and it saves me money. And as long as you figure out, how you're traveling, your security, your food and your cooking, your personal hygiene, and you can be comfortable, because people ask me if I'm comfortable. If I wasn't comfortable, I wouldn't have been doing it for 14 months.
Right.
So I've managed to figure out how to make myself comfortable, feel clean, feel well fed, feel safe. And so I wanted to retire at 60, and then COVID came. So by the time COVID was done, you know, I was like a feral cat. The door opened and I was gone. So
Okay.
it's just been really exciting and wonderful.
So let me ask you ladies this. What is the best thing you did in preparing for this, Angie? And what is something you wish you had done that now you've been on the road a little while, you would do differently?
I think, you know, I was going to do it just in my truck in the back seat and just have like the storage in the back of my truck, you know, with maybe one of those locking little flat things. So I think the best thing that I did do is kind of a two-part thing. Is I bought the ARE cap, and then the second thing
So
is
building out the inside.
well, I was just going to say,
Yeah.
and having my son, who's in the Air Force, thank you, Cody, he built out the back for me. And
As opposed to
having-
sleeping in the back seat.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And it is, Kay and I figured out that her space and my space are about the same, even though she's in a smart car and I'm in the shortest bed of Chevy. We've got about 30
Isn't that
square-
interesting?
Yes, and so
Wow.
we live in micro tiny, and probably T doesn't have very much more space either, and you know, so it's so doable. You don't need big rigs, and then the thing that I wish I would have done, the thing is, I had the truck, and so ladies, one of the most important things, like T said, use what you have. It doesn't have to limit you. You don't have to wait for a van. You don't have to wait for the perfect car. When I started out in January, I just got the cap, and man, I threw 3 bins in the back of the bed of my truck, and I threw like some yoga mats down and 3 bins, and I put a Walmart plastic folding table over, some blankets for cushions, and then I put 2 IKEA carts on each side to hold all my possessions, and dude, I hit the road. And let me tell you something, the desert gets cold. Please bring plenty of cold weather clothes and blankets, because I didn't know that.
People think desert, oh, hot, hot, hot.
Yes,
Now
yes.
it gets very
That
cold
was the
at night.
mistake I made. If I want to say the mistake I made, that is the mistake I
Okay.
made. I did not come prepared for cold weather, because I thought, woohoo, I'm going to be in flip-flops and shorts and tank tops. And I shivered so many nights trying to keep myself warm.
Yeah. So look ahead and find out what the weather is where you're going.
Absolutely. Just come prepared. As
Yeah.
prepared as you can be, but you can do it as minimal as possible too.
Okay. And T, what would you say was the best thing you did in this short time? And one of the things that you have found, or have you even found out anything yet that you would do differently?
I don't think I do anything different.
Wow. That's you don't have to have
Okay.
something different, you know?
For me, it's perfect. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's perfect. You know,
It
and
works for
It
you.
works because it's serving its purpose.
But what is the best thing you think you did?
The best thing I did, I think, was go to YouTube University.
Okay.
That's
Because
Yeah.
that's where I learned from all these other experts at this van life, you know, how to go about it.
So benefiting from the experience of others.
And this
Right.
community is so supportive, and everyone's so open and wanting to share
Exactly.
how to do it, you know, and how to be safe. And so I felt like I followed a blueprint, and then I just fit into that. And what Angie was saying was that you can do it, because I was intimidated and I couldn't afford to pay somebody to do the build. I was intimidated to do it myself, and
Because you had never done a build or
never
anything.
done a build, and I never held a power drill in my hand, not once in
Wow.
my life. And so I went and got 3 power tools, and I just went for it.
What were the 3 power tools you got?
I got a jigsaw, which
Okay.
was the most intimidating, a power screwdriver, we call that, and a sander.
Okay.
And other little things, but those are the power tools. But I'm saying, you can do it.
Okay.
You can do it. You have to just believe in yourself and go for it. Be safe, but go for it. And if I could do it, anybody could do it.
Okay. And Kay, what would you say was the best thing you did, and what is something you do differently?
I would say what I would do differently is that I would have gone sooner.
Oh, wow.
Don't wait.
I love
Okay.
that.
Don't wait.
Yeah.
The best thing is just appreciating everything. You know you have more than you know that you have, and appreciating it and going forward, I think.
You know, we talked, T, you and I were talking about one of the things that really has the greatest impact, what we were all talking about, is our perspective. That we get weighed down with the minutia, and we let sometimes small things or even large things throw us so far off track. But if we can just change our perspective and look at it as, okay, what was I supposed to learn from this? What is the growth potential for this? And that is the most significant thing we have. We don't have control over a lot of things, but we have control over how we're going to decide to think about a situation. And that perspective can completely change your experience.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm kind of in that little space right there where my old thought processes are still with me, and they creep in.
Right.
You know,
Habits are hard to break.
you know, it's hard to break, but I'm catching them, and I'm catching it when it happens, and I'm intentionally switching that perspective because I know it's all in my head.
Being intentional, very intentional.
Yes, be very intentional when those old thought process, negative thinking, self-loathing, like not believing in yourself. When those thoughts start to creep in, you catch them and you switch them around because it's not true. What's
Hold
true
your thoughts
is you
captive.
are capable of doing any and everything.
Instead of letting your thoughts hold you captive, you hold your thoughts captive.
100%.
You know.
It's made a world of difference in this life.
So in closing, because we're getting a little long, but we could go on, literally, we could go on, we could go on for a couple more hours. We really could.
Yeah.
If you had, I know there are so many things that, you know, you can tell a person to do to prepare, but if each of you had one thing, whether it's you know, having a emergency fund or whatever, what would the one thing you would tell people to do to prepare if someone, because I think this year coming up, I really think we're going to see so many people, especially older women, who are going to be, through circumstances, forced to move into vehicles.
Yes.
Exactly.
And there's going to be a shortage because of what's happening with these fires and everything else.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the prices are going to go up and up and up.
Yep.
And so people are going to be really straining to get things.
Yes.
So I think all of you have said, you know, using what you have. But what would one thing that you could tell or suggest to someone who's going to have to, not because of choice, but is going to have to get involved in this lifestyle, what would you suggest to them, Kay?
I would say that sometimes our intuition is dormant, and as women, we've spent time with taking care of spouses, children, our parents, that all of a sudden you're on the road and you can choose whatever you want to do, whatever time frame you have. Appreciate that and use it to your best benefit. And also to have, you know, a credit card, a little bit of money, so that if everything just doesn't work out on a certain day, you can pull into a motel or do whatever you need to do. It gives you just that sense of security, like if everything goes awry on a certain day, you know, I can still be cuddled up and be safe.
So be able to, if you have to, have the means, if possible, to take a break, even even for a day.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, in the morning everything looks better.
Okay.
And you can start out again, and but when you're in the throes of it, it seems daunting.
Okay. And for you, T, in that you've been so short on the road, but what would you say to someone who's getting ready to go on, and because they're scared because it's not their choice? What would you suggest to them that they do?
Well, first of all, I would suggest that you go out to YouTube and you learn from people who have been doing this lifestyle how to go about it. But believe in yourself and just know that it's doable, and it's okay. To live in a car.
It doesn't make you less. It doesn't make you less than.
Thank you. It doesn't make you less than. You probably feel better, doing it. And stop buying stuff.
Yes. Stop the draining, of your resources.
Right.
Because some people tend, just like food, people use it as a crutch to make themselves feel better, and it's their thing that gives them something of pleasure. Some people get that out of going and buying. But when you're on the road and you're on a tight budget, you cannot afford that anymore.
And I'm definitely guilty of that.
And you don't have space.
Yeah, that's true.
Space for it anyway.
Yeah,
so
and you're just going to be more crammed.
Everything would be only buy your necessities that you're going to need, but stop buying,
And don't go out and buy a whole lot of stuff because you may not need it.
Correct.
Buy a little bit, and then as you see you need something, then buy it.
And also to have a small storage unit is helpful as well.
If possible.
If possible.
Yeah. Okay. And what about you, Angie? What would you suggest to someone who's going to be going into this lifestyle? Wasn't something they planned, wasn't necessarily even something they wanted, but they're having to do it. What would your suggestion be?
My suggestion would be, first of all, it's okay. Don't be hard on yourself. There's a lot of us out here that will be here for you. We will help you along the way. It wasn't our plan to, have to, I hope I can say this, go to the bathroom in a bag, or to have to learn how to do that. But you know what? There's something freeing about that, to be able to do your own business in your own place and not have anybody bothering you, to have your own space, to be able to just be yourself and to be free and to just have beauty and nature around you, and a community of people like-minded, that even though you have to do this because some of us have chosen, it is, I think, only going to be a positive thing for your life.
From what you're saying about having a positive community, I would expand upon that, and I would say, if you're coming out here, get a tribe. Get a community.
Absolutely.
Come to things like the RTR.
Yes.
Come, because you ladies all met by showing your vehicles at the RTR. You didn't know each other before this.
No.
I didn't know any of you before
and
this.
There's also things like Van Aid, where if you have to come out, come out. There's people here that will help you.
Right.
And you don't have to pay a penny. They will help you, out of the kindness of their heart, because they have been where you are once upon a time.
So go to van life events, go to meetups if you can get to them.
And
go
get numbers. I'm sorry.
No.
Exchange numbers. This is what I do now. I exchange numbers with everybody that I click with. I take a picture. I make a little note under there, like where I met them. And if I need to, I call.
Yes. All right. Well, like I said, ladies, we could just go on and on. There's so much to digest here and so much information to give. And we might do another segment or session if we get together again, which I hope we will one of these days. But thank you so much, and may your journeys be filled with joy and blessings, each and every one of you. And I look forward to seeing you down the road.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.